So today is the only day you get to actually type your piece for your publication that's due in approximately 4 days if we count today's class session. You're using Google Docs if you have one already open and started, or if you've come in properly typed. This is your focus today, is to make sure that you properly format your piece. Formatting is important because I need to take that document and put it into a publication packet, so it needs to be properly formatted. First thing you want to do is name that document, and we're going to call that document your first and last name. So that if this was mine, it would be Jamie Zappia, and then you're going to put a hyphen, and then you're going to say narrative publication. So that should be the name of your document, your first and last name, narrative publication. After that, when we get into the document itself, a few things you need to know. First of all, if you click up here or in this section here, it says it's in the header. Please do not use the header document section. That is not appropriate. It'll actually make my job when I make that publication packet a lot more challenging. You need to make sure that you are not inside that, so click out of that and just be down here in the regular document. For the title of the document, there are a few things you need to know. First, you may use 18-point font. You may use whatever font style you want. For the title, I'm going to use permanent marker just to show you. But for the title, you may use whatever font style you want. But it has to be 18-point font, and you need to make sure the title is boldface and underlined. Please do not, and I repeat, do not have the title be what's called left aligned. See how whenever I hover over this, it says left aligned. You want it centered. To center it, you need to use this and just click once. You don't space over, you don't tab over, you just click on it and it'll make it centered. So put your title here. Again, that title needs to be 18-point font, boldface, underline. But do not, and you can use any font style you want, but make sure you do not go any higher or lower than 18-point font for that title. Once you do that, you need to return twice. So, or enter twice. So you're going to click enter. And at that point, I do want you to change the font size to 12-point font. You're going to put an additional space after that, so you're going to hit enter again. And then you're going to want to remove the center alignment to left align. So do not type your document centered. It should be typed left align. To begin typing your document, you're going to press in the top left corner is the tab button. That'll give you a nice solid indent one time, and you can begin typing your piece. Again, for the body of the piece, I do want it to be in either Arial or Times New Roman. Those are the only options I want you to use. So please make sure it's not boldface and not underlined. So there you have it. Please make sure you're typing it in Arial or Times New Roman. We don't want to make the piece double spaced, so single space only. Which is what the document should auto to. Notice how there's no extra spacing in here. This is the spacing button, but like I said, make sure 1.15 is fine, but don't go any more narrow, and don't double space it or anything. Keep it like that. Now, once you've done that tab key one time right there, when you enter again, you may have to tab again in order to start a new paragraph. Sometimes it will automatically tab it over for you, but make sure that yours looks like this. So your title's centered, 18-point font, boldface underlined. Notice that part's centered. Notice when I click on this, we see it automatically moves to left align. I've used the indent button. You don't want the body of your piece to be centered. That will cost you some points. And then for every paragraph, you press enter. Do not put an extra space between paragraphs. Make sure that they are just standard paragraph format. And as you change paragraphs, no extra space is needed there. I do want an extra space here. And then when you finish typing, I do want you to put an extra space between where your essay ends and where your name begins. I want you to make sure that you boldface your name. You're going to keep the same font. You're going to keep the same size. Just make sure that it's in bold. And you'll just call by colon your first and last name. So that's how your piece should look. Centered, boldface, underline, 18-point font. The body of the piece is going to be written in 12-point font, Times New Roman or Arial, and then make sure that you add an extra space between your name and the document. Make sure that you boldface it as well. So this is the formatting I want. Notice it's still left aligned as well. So make sure you're following that format. I will be putting up a copy of what the publication piece should look like. It looks like this, and it gives you more detailed instructions. Here's the only challenge about this. Please be aware that I did this for a different unit, so it says analysis up here, and yours is obviously not for an analysis unit, but for narrative. So your document name should change and have that on top, as opposed to the screenshot that I'm going to put in the on this document so you can see what it looks like. Make sure that yours does not say analysis and it says narrative. So that's what you were checking for today. So if you are ready to start peer editing, you need to really fix your formatting. Make sure it matches this. Make sure you've named the document proper. There will be another day where I show you how to upload the document so that way you can properly submit it, and that's not today. So once you check for all of these things, I would recommend today's reading of the document with your partner is for checking for simple typos and spelling mistakes. So looking for simple spelling, typo, and punctuation mistakes is going to be today's checks, because the next few days, Thursday, Friday, and Wednesday, we're going to look at the rubric and making sure that we are checking the piece for the writing rubric, which is what you're scored on. It encompasses all the learning targets from last week, but we're going to talk about how those learning targets tie into each area of the narrative writing rubric that you'll be scored on. So go ahead and get checking your formatting, make your document look like this one, change the name, and also make sure you're peering up and reading over it for simple typos, spelling, and grammar mistakes. That's your goals today. There will be no type 1 at all this week, nor share time, to give you the time that you can work on these every day within class. So go ahead and get working.